Last week, we talked about setting goals you'll actually achieve. This week, I want to talk about what happens after you set the goal. Because here's what usually happens. Week 1, you're crushing it. Week 2, motivation starts to fade, but not too bad. Week 3, life starts to get in the way, and you start to think about giving up. So today, I'm sharing 2 stories from my own life, one where I did it alone, and one where I had support, and why one took so much longer to see progress than the other. Welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Smith, and I lost 50 pounds riding my bike by focusing on what my body can do. Now, I teach other women how to do the same. I am obsessed with completely flipping the script on weight loss so that we can work out to feel good and feel strong. If you are ready to stop dieting, learn how to appreciate your body, and have fun riding your bike, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad you're here. And can I just say, I am still flying high from last week's January Jumpstart Challenge. A number of you joined me for a week of setting goals and moving forward and starting to take action steps towards those goals. We had so many women in the challenge taking action, showing up for themselves, and it was amazing. I feel like I built relationships that are literally going to last a lifetime, and I'm so grateful for everyone who participated. If you were a part of it, thank you so much for being there. I loved every minute of it. And if you didn't get a chance to join us, that's okay. I run challenges pretty frequently, and you can always check out www.sascy.com/challenge to either see what challenge we are leading up to and get yourself signed up, or to get yourself on the wait list for the next challenge. Okay, so last week here on the podcast, we talked about how to set goals that actually stick. Your 2026 goals, what lights you up this year. And maybe you did that, and maybe you got clear on what you wanted. You picked a priority. You started choosing your small actions and moving forward with those actions. But here's what I want to talk about today. What happens after you set the goal? Because you know what to do. That's not the hard part. The hard part is keeping it going when motivation fades, when life gets busy, when you mess up, when you've been relying on willpower to will yourself through the things that you have to do and you just don't have any anymore. And that's what this week's episode is all about. And I'm going to tell you 2 different stories from my own life to kind of show you the difference between when you have support and when you don't. So many of you know that in 2020, I decided that my big goal for the year was going to be to lose 50 pounds. And I not only did not have support, but I also kept it completely to myself. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't ask for help. And the whole reasoning behind that is because I was actually terrified of failing at my goal. So I didn't even want anybody to know that I was working for it or working towards it, because I didn't want to explain why I didn't achieve it. Not that people wouldn't ask, but that's what our brains do. So I had tried so many diets over the years. I tried Richard Simmons' deal meal cards in the 80s, and he called the house, and you may know this story, but he called my house to ask how it was going. He wanted to know what was up, and I had to tell him, oh, by the way, I didn't actually do the diet because I realized really quickly there were not enough carbs in the day for me. I wasn't about to tell him that, so I just said, oh, she's not here right now. Because he was actually looking for my aunt. She was the one that bought the cards. I was 12 at the time, but still, I felt the shame, even though he wasn't calling and asking me directly. I tried Weight Watchers also more times than I could freaking count. I don't know that there's anybody who is in their 40s or above who hasn't tried Weight Watchers at some time if they were trying to lose weight. And guess what? Same problem. Not enough points in the day, too many decisions to make. I tried MyFitnessPal a number of times, and I'd be really good at putting all of my food in for a day and a half, and then it would get to be too much and I'd stop. And every single time, this was kind of the story. I got too hard. I'd gain the weight back. I'd give up. And I'd feel really ashamed of it. So in 2020, I kept it a secret because I was scared. And here's something that might shock you. When I decided to lose my weight for the last time, I was actually riding my bike more than I am right now. So I was very active. That really wasn't the problem. But I thought that all I had to do was like work out more and work out harder and ride more and the weight would come off. And what I had realized was that was not happening and that I had to figure out a different way. And really for me, and everyone is different, but for me, the reality was I was eating way too much. I was overeating. I was emotional eating. And I was like, okay, I'll just like ride my bike longer. And that's not how we look at weight loss. That's not how we should look at movement. I talk about that a lot too, but I tell this story from a very personal place, from a very vulnerable place, just to help you understand that if you're having a hard time figuring this all out, that is totally normal. I was right there with you. I did end up meeting my goal, but it took a while. It took 14 months, which I actually think is kind of healthy to lose 50 pounds. I'm not really unhappy about that, but I didn't have any support. It was very lonely, and there was no one to really celebrate with when things were going well. There was no one to really talk through when the scale wasn't moving at all or it was going up and I felt like I needed help. So it was really going it all on my own, and it just didn't feel great. So that was my first scenario, my first big goal. Now, fast forward, this is my second story. And again, I won't bore you with the me stuff very much because this is really supposed to be about you. But a few years later in 2024, I decided that my goal of the year was to become strong. I had lost my weight. I had really kind of developed a much better relationship with my body and food, but I really wanted to be stronger and I wanted to make strength training a priority. And I'll be really honest with you, I don't like it. I don't like strength training. It does not excite me. It does not light me up. I don't get the same feeling from it that I get from riding my bike. But I knew that the strength was really important. So I hired a personal trainer. And honestly, this was the big difference. This changed everything. I felt like I had someone who would guide me, who would help me figure out what to do, who held me accountable, who checked in with me to make sure that I was on track, who met with me and helped me and customized everything to me and my body and my goals. And what happened was I was able to build this habit so much faster because I had someone in my corner who knew what I had to do and who was willing to help me with what I had to do. There wasn't guesswork, and I was able to actually move forward so much faster. Not because strength training is easier than weight loss or anything like that, but just because I wasn't doing it alone. And so I'm telling you these things because the difference between trying to go it alone and actually getting some help is huge. When I lost weight alone, it took longer. It was harder. I almost gave up like 855 million times, honestly. When things got hard, I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. I didn't have anybody to brainstorm with. There was no ChatGPT back then to talk to. And so when I had support with strength training, it was faster, it was clearer, it was more sustainable. And so my question for you is, where are you right now? Are you trying to do all of this alone? Are you trying to move forward and to make progress? Maybe you're having a lot of success and that's freaking awesome. But ask yourself, have you tried and stopped before? Do you know what to do, but you can't seem to keep doing it? Does life tend to get in the way by week 3 of you working towards your goals? And here's what I've learned. Knowing what to do is never the hard part. We all know what to do. We all know what the steps are. The hard part is doing it when you're tired, when you don't feel like it, staying on track when life gets crazy, not giving up when you mess up, just finding a way to move forward, and also keeping it going after the motivation fades, when you can't just willpower your way through it anymore. This is where having support and help makes all of the difference. So, for example, one of my clients, Marina, I worked with her this past year and it was great. It was so great to get to know her. It was so great to help her. And by the time we had finished working together, I said, hey, would you can you just put something together really quickly to say what it was like working with me? And I was blown away. She spent so much time and so much effort, and it was this glorious note that she wrote. And from that, she said, I've stopped punishing myself and I'm talking more kindly to myself. I'm now understanding how to find enjoyment in riding and exercise. It's not a punishment. I'm fueling a strong body and mind. And I'll be really honest, like I wanted to cry because having that kind of impact and having that kind of connection with someone, and that's what happens when you have someone in your corner who's helping you out. So you might be thinking, okay, but Stacy, I do know what works. I've done this before. Here's the thing. No, I get it. We have all, like, especially with weight loss, I feel like we all know how to lose weight. We all know what we need to do to make the scale move in the direction that we want it to move in. But and this is just me being super honest with you, if you've done it before and you've gained the weight back, it really didn't work. Chances are you were doing things that weren't sustainable for you. Chances are you were, plugging everything into an app, or you were counting carbs, or you were, just really, really motivated for a period of time, but then the motivation just went away. Because you didn't have anybody helping you, you might not have actually met your goals. And it's not because you're weak or you're lazy or you don't have enough willpower. It's because you're human, and it's because you don't have anybody helping you figure out what to do when life gets crazy, how to stay on track when you're exhausted, why you're eating when you're not hungry, what actually works for your body and your life. And you really kind of need someone who won't let you give up, someone who will help you. So if you are sitting here and you are thinking, yes, I do need support, I'm tired of doing this alone, I do still have a few spots available for individual coaching. And when you work with me one-on-one, and I don't do this a lot or often, I only open this up maybe once or twice a year. It is not something that I always do. But when you work with me, I am all in with you, and I am there to help you through the achievement of your goals, whether they be weight loss focused, movement focused, or a combination of the two. So here's what I do. You will get weekly check-ins initiated by me. I'm not waiting for you to reach out. I'm going to be reaching out to you. You will have daily text and email support from me. So it's basically like having me in your back pocket. You're also going to get a personalized plan for your body, your life, and your goals. Having someone talk to you, get information from you about what you need, and then help you put together a sustainable, doable plan is one of the most impactful things you can possibly do if you want to meet your goals. You're going to have someone in your corner who isn't going to let you give up, who's going to help you when things seem like they're impossible, who is going to know and believe that you can do it, even though you don't necessarily always believe it yourself. And so if that sounds like something that would be interesting to you or something that you need, please email me at stacy@sassy.com. That's stacy@sascy.com. And we can just chat about whether or not this is a good fit for you. Whether you work with me or not, I want you to hear this. You don't have to figure this out alone. You don't have to keep starting over. You can get support. Find your support. Maybe it's a friend that you check in with. Maybe it is, just someone else who has goals similar to yours. Maybe it's somebody that you meet in the Biking Wellness Community Facebook group. But find your support. Find a way to make it doable, sustainable, and fun. And keep it really simple. And just don't do anything that you aren't willing to do for the rest of your life. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything extreme. Think about making small, doable changes that lead up to huge results over time. So I am here, my friend, if you need me. And I really hope that you'll choose to work with me. But either way, I'm here to support you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the Biking Wellness community. And I can't wait to be with you again next week. Talk soon. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Biking Wellness Podcast. Be sure to head on over to sassy.com/guide, SASCY.com/guide, to get my completely free Lose Weight Biking Quick Start Guide so that you can get started with simple, doable weight loss today. That's SASCY.com/guide.